ॐ नमो नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय
Asmadgurubhyo namaha, Asmadparamgurubhyo namaha, Asmadsarvagurubhyo namaha. So we're continuing on with our discussion of the book Sandhya Vandanam by Satyamurti Iyengar, and we are up to the part where we're starting to look at the actual Sandhya Vandana procedure. So here we have Krishna Yajurvediya Kalatraya Sandhya Vandanam, the offering of prayers at the twilights and the junctions of the day. 3 times a day, according to the Yajurveda. So the first thing is Prataha Sandhya Vandanam. This is the morning session at daybreak or dawn. The Sandhya Vandanam has to be performed in 3 sessions. Number 1, at daybreak, just before sunrise. Number 2, at midday. Number 3, at sunset, just before the sun sinks down below the horizon. The first session has to be started after going through the morning routine, ending with the bath. It would be ideal if the conventional bath, that is plunging oneself into the running water of a river, or the standing column of water in a lake or pond, called Varuna Snanam, or in the bathroom, pouring adequate quantities of water over the entire body from head to foot is put through. The far-sighted and considerate Shastras have, however, prescribed several alternatives that could meet the needs of the situation. These are different types of baths. Parthiva bath, Parthiva Snanam, smearing the body head to foot with pure earth, uttering the relative purificatory mantra. So there's a mantra, Mitike Harame Papam Janmayam Yaskritam Kritam, etc. The Mritika Suktam from the Vedas, and another. So that's the first alternative to the water bath, the Varuna Snanam. The second is Agneya Snanam. Agneya Snanam means smearing the body with the ash obtained from ritual known as Agnihotra. So Agnihotra is performed. Agnihotra, Samidadanam, Upasanam. These are fire ceremonies or fire rituals that are performed morning and evening by different persons. So we get the ash from that, the holy ash from that, and touch it to our forehead and different parts of the body. It's considered to be a type of bath, Agneya Snanam, fire bath. Number C is Vayaviya Snanam, smearing the body with dust from the hooves of cows, uttering the Go Savitri mantra. So I don't know exactly what that is, but Goduli Muhurta, in the morning and the evening, is when the cows go out or the cows come back, and they kick up dust, and that dust is considered to be holy and pure and can purify our body. The fourth one here is called Akasha Snanam. Akasha means ether, or, so it means bathing in the rain when there is also sunshine side by side. It's also known as Divya Snanam, or divine bath. Okay, that doesn't always happen, but when it happens, that's a way of also taking a bath. Normally, the rainwater, just rain, or ordinary rain, is not considered to be actually purifying, but this rain, when the sun is shining, is considered to be purifying. Apart from the ritually purifying, apart from the above 5 Snanams, that is the Varuna, Prithvi, Agni, Vayu, and Akash, representing the 5 elements. The ceremonial bath invoking the 5 elements, Varuna, Prithvi, Agni, Vayu, and Akash, or water, earth, fire, air, and ether. There is the mantra Snanam apart from that, cleansing each limb of the body by chanting the relative mantra, mentally comprehending a torrential flow of the Ganges, or Ganga, from the lotus feet of Lord Sriman Narayana, making its entry through the scalp and coursing through the entire physical frame, washing out the impurities. Yeah, pure earth. The earth itself is pure. It's any earth is pure like that. If it's mixed with dirty things, of course, we can't use it. But if it's pure earth, we dig down we get pure earth. So it doesn't have to necessarily be from a holy place or Gopi Chandan or something like that. Pure earth. Okay, so then there is also the sponge bath, rubbing the various limbs with a wet towel. The participant cannot therefore plead inability to take a bath and perform Sandhya Vandanam in due time under the pretext of inclement weather and so on. The mantra or manasa mental shnana or bath could easily be substituted for the conventional varunam shnanam or water bath when the latter is not practicable so early in the morning. And so one primary hurdle is removed. Even so, the mental bath is by remembering the Supreme Lord. We say, Apavitra Pavitro Va Savavashtam Gatopi Va Yasmanet Pundarikaksham Sabhaya Abhyantara Suchihi, which is going to be mentioned next. This is a meditation on the Lord, and this mantra comes from the Garuda Purana. So here we have, and so even so, if one starts the proceedings by uttering the following mantra for ensuring bodily purity, internal and external, at the commencement of each session, sprinkling water overhead at the same time. So sprinkle water over our heads and say, Apavitra Pavitro Va, Sarvavashtam Gatopi Va, Yasmaret, Pundarikaksham, Sa Bahya Abhyantara Suchihi. The above mantra avers that mere meditation on Pundarikaksha, which is a name for Sriman Narayana, the lotus-eyed Lord Narayana, cleanses one both inside and outside, irrespective of the degree and standard of purity on the part of the subject at the time. So, Achamana. So, Achamana is sipping of water, of course. The right palm should be twisted so that as it assumes the shape of a gokarna. So, this is a gokarna, the ear of a cow, right? The ear of a cow, and a teaspoon full of water is poured into it and swallowed, uttering Om Achyutaya Namaha. This Achmana should be followed by two other such exercises, the mantras to be uttered successively being Om Anantaya Namaha and Om Govindaya Namaha. Thereafter, the 12 mantras commencing with Om Keshavaya Namaha should be uttered in the sequence as indicated, the particular finger touching the particular limb or part thereof, as indicated in the table on page 15. So, Om Keshavaya Namaha, we'll see in a minute. When someone performs the Vedic rites, skipping the Achamana unwittingly, he fails to achieve the fruits of the karma of the act. So it's said here, Vritta Tasya Kriya. So here we have the table, and the table. So it says here, we could turn the table. Let's see. We could turn the table. Okay. So, Om Keshavaya Namaha, salutation to Keshava, who is signified by the Omkara, embodiment of Om, the Pranava. Touch the right thumb to the right cheek. Om Narayanaya Namaha, touch the right thumb to the left cheek. Om Madhavaya Namaha, touch the ring finger to the right eye. Om Govindaya Namaha, touch the ring finger to the left eye. Om Vishnave Namaha, touch the forefinger to the right side of the nose. Om Madhusudhanaya Namaha, touch the forefinger to the left side of the nose. Om Trivikramaya Namaha, touch the little finger to the right ear. Om Vamanaya Namaha, touch the little finger to the left ear. Om Sridharaya Namaha, touch the middle finger to the right shoulder. Om Rishi Keshaya Namaha, touch the middle finger to the left shoulder. Om Padmanabhaya Namaha, all of the fingers of the right hand touch the navel. And Om Damodaraya Namaha, all the fingers touching the top of the head, or the scalp. Okay. Pranayamaha. The next step is pranayamaha. So first step, Achamana. Now, it wasn't mentioned here, but you actually have to do that twice. Achamana should be done twice at this point. In the beginning of any ritual, Achamana is done twice. Virachamana. Achamana, full Achamana includes washing of the feet beforehand. So mouth, feet, mouth, and hands. But anyhow, that's not completely mentioned here. So pranayamaha, or breath control. The mantra to be chanted the manner in which it is to be done, and the benefits accruing therefrom, extracted from relevant texts, are indicated below. So here are the mantras broken up, the mantra for pranayama or breath control in Vedic pranayama, broken up into 3 lines. The first is the pranava omkara with the 7 vyahritis or sapta vyahritis, 7 special words in Sanskrit that indicate different levels of consciousness or different planetary systems or different chakras within the body. Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Ogum Subaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Ogum Satyam. In the Taitiriya Krishna Yajurveda type of pronunciation, when we get an Anushwara at the end of Om, and it's followed by an S, then we pronounce that Anushwara as Gum. So Ogum Subaha and Ogum Satyam. Okay, so then we have the Gayatri mantra, Om Tat Sabravare Inyam Bargo Deva Siddhimahi Dioyona Pachodaya Ate, like that. Okay, so their Vedic swaras or Vedic tonal markings are missing here in this book, but you should learn the Vedic mantras with the tonal markings, so they have to be put in for proper pronunciation. And naturally, somebody should hear this as chanted by a Vedapatya person who perfectly knows the Veda. Om Apo Jyotir Samritam Brahma Bodh Bhavasavarom. That is called that is the 3rd part, which is called the Gayatri Shiras. Shiras means head. Shiras means head, and it ends off with Om Bodh Bhavasavarom at the end. So the pranayama mantra is divided into 3 sections as indicated above. Section 1 enumerates the 7 regions, vyahritis, from Bhuhu, the earth, Bhuloka, upwards, namely Bhuvaha Loka, Suvaha Loka, Mahaha Loka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, preceded by Om, or the pranava, in each case, to signify that all these worlds are but the several forms of Brahman, or spiritual, and the subject matter of pranava, Omkara, the Omkara Swarupa, or the form of the Omkara. He is the soul, right? The Supreme Lord, Sriman Narayana, he is the soul pervading all these worlds, which constitute his prakara, or body. So this is exactly in line with Ramanuja's philosophy of Vishishtadvaita. His philosophy describes this as Sharira Shariri Bhava. So it means that God is like the body of the universe. The universe is the body of God. So God, Sriman Narayana, pervades the universe from outside as well as from inside. Instead of taking Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha as denoting the 7 worlds or lokas as such, Sudoshana Bhatta, there's a person called Shrudha Prakashika Bhatta, or also known as Sudoshana Bhatta, who is a great commentator who's written a sub-commentary on Ramanuja's Srivasya on the Vedanta Sutras. Right? Sudoshana Bhatta, the commentator, has explained these words in terms of the Lord himself. The word Bhuhu denotes Brahman, the supreme spiritual, the supreme spirit. The first cause of things, one and all, the causeless cause. Bhuvaha denotes him who resides in all, Bhavati Ayam, as well as Bhavanti Asmin, him in whom all things abide, his immanence, both internal and external. Suvaha denotes him as whom everything is created. Shunj Prani Prasave. Mahaha Mahiyate Iti Mahaha denotes him who is worshipped by all. It can also refer to his resplendence. Adityavarnam Purusham Vidyuleke Vabhashvara Nakshatrani Rupam, etc., etc. So these are all quotes from Purusha Sukta in the Veda, right? So it comes in the Krishna Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, also in the Rig Veda, like this. And Purusha Sukta is such an important hymn, it comes in all the Vedas. And these are lines from Purusha Sukta. Adityavarnam Purusham Vidyuleke Vabhashvara. I think that's actually from Narayana Suktam, and Nakshatrani Rupam. Janaha is the next vyariti. Janan Nayatiti Janaha. These are the Sanskrit definitions of these words. Denotes him who guides the destiny of his subjects in the light of their past actions, good and bad. Tapaha denotes him who imparts heat and luster, the brilliance of the sun and the moon being invested by him, the brilliance of the brilliant. Satyam denotes him who, in terms of his form and essential nature, is not subject to mutation of any kind. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. This is a statement in the Upanishads. Satyasya Satyam. He is the truth of truth, right? Or the supreme Brahman, or the supreme Lord Sriman Narayana is truth, knowledge, and infinity, as proclaimed in the Upanishads. Further, along with each of these vyahritis, the word Om, or the pranava, is chanted. Hence, each is a separate mantra. Thus, because in the Vedas, normally, every mantra, when we chant every mantra, we should begin with the Omkara or the pranava. Thus, Om Bhuhu is one mantra, Om Bhuvaha is another, and so on. Regarding the origin of the pranava or Omkara and the vyahritis, the Veda, Bahricha Brahmana, declares Prajapatir Akam Mayata Prajayayeti. The Supreme Lord willed that he should become manifold. So the Lord was one and he became many. And did sankalpa, or resolved accordingly. The result from that was the earth, the Devaloka, the interim space, Antariksha, which means outer space, were ushered in, revolving forth in the light of these three products. Three luminaries sprang forth: fire from the earth, the sun from Devaloka, and Vayu from space. Resolving furthermore in terms of these three luminaries, normally it's funny that he says Vayu here from space, because the three luminaries are usually described as fire, sun, and the moon. But here he said Vayu. I'm not quite sure whether that's correct or not. Resolving furthermore in terms of these three luminaries, the three vyahritis ensued: Bhuhu from the Rig Veda, Bhuvaha from the Yajurveda, Suvaha from the Samaveda. Resolving once more in the light of these three vyahritis, the Lord brought out three letters: Akara, Ukara, and Makara, or A, U, and M, from Bhu, Bhuvaha, and Suvaha, respectively. The Parama Purusha, the Supreme Person, joined these three letters to form Omkara, or Pranava, the Omkara, the ultimate offshoot of the earlier products, the all-pervasive. It is the sun, the Swarga, etc., the heaven. Yet another Upanishad reveals that the Pranava, or Omkara, is the aggregate of all words, like unto the white plumes forming a bunch of feathers of white birds. It is the Veda itself and also Brahman. That is why Brahman is said to be Omkara Rupa, Omkarena Sarva Vachas Sa Omkara Eva Vedas Sa Brahma. And now we pass on to the second section of the Pranayamaha, namely the Gayatri Mantra. Gayatram Trayate Iti Gayatri, which protects its chanters is called Gayatri. It is being chanted by all Dvijas, or twice-born persons, irrespective of their sectarian denominations, either Vaishnava, Shaiva, Advaita, Dvaita, or Vishishta Dvaita. Right, so the Advaitins are followers of Shankara, the Dvaitins are the followers of Madhvacharya, the Vishishta Dvaitins are followers of Ramanujacharya and Sri Vaishnavas. Whether they're Shaivites or whether they're Vaishnavas, everybody is chanting this Vedic mantra. Of course, the meaning of the Maha Mantra is appreciated by them differently in accordance with their respective tenets and doctrines. So actually changing the prose order, the meaning of the mantra can be appreciated in two ways. So when we have a mantra in Sanskrit, we can rearrange the order of the Sanskrit in a prose order instead of in a verse form. The Gayatri comes in verse form, in Gayatri Mita, 3 sets of 8 syllables. We can rearrange it like this: Savatu devasya varenyam tad bargaha dhimahi yaha naha diyaha prachodayat. Let us meditate, dhimahi, on the multitude of auspicious traits, bargaha, of Lord Narayana Devasya, who created all the worlds, Savituhu, and who is eminently fit to be adored by one and all, Varenyam. He is the one who induces and turns prachodyat, our mind and intellect, diyaha, towards propitiating him. So that's one meaning. And if we go on, we can put it in a different way. We can say, Devasya savituhu, Varenyam Bhargaha Taddimahi Yaha Naha Diyaha Pachodayat. The shift here is not only in the prose order, but also in the meanings of the word Devasya Savituhu and Bhargaha. So we meditate upon Dimahi, the resplendent Lord, with a supernal form, Bhargaha, Divya Mangala Vigraha, which means a completely holy divine form, auspicious form, transcendental form, who possesses extraordinary brilliance and innumerable auspicious attributes, Devasya, who stays inside the sun as its internal controller, Savituhu, and who is propitiated by one and all, Varenya. The rest is as in the first understanding of the mantra above. He is the one who induces and turns prachodyat, our mind and intellect, diyaha, towards propitiating him. Now, section 3, the third part of pranayamaha, known as Gayatri Shiras, is virtually a reinforcement of section 1, insofar as it brings out that all things in the final analysis denote him, the indweller, the internal controller of all things and beings, mobile and stationary. Apa, water, apaha, radiance, jyoti, fire, and other luminous bodies. Delicious juice, rasa, or taste. Ambrosia, amrita, Brahma, Bhur, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, one and all signifying the Supreme Lord, denoted by Pranava or Omkara, the epitome of the entire Veda. And now, the manner or modus operandi of doing the pranayama or control of the vital breath. Holding the nose between the right thumb and right ring finger of the thumb and ring finger of the right hand, the pranayama sections 1 to 3 should be uttered, drawing to start with the downgoing breath, apana, upwards through the left nostril, connecting it with the prana, the upgoing breath, a process known as puraka, or breathing in, or arresting for a while. Thereafter, the motion of both of the breaths, upgoing and downgoing, that is holding the breath, the process called kumbhaka, and finally letting the breath out through the right nostril downwards. That is connecting the vital breath prana with the vital breath apana, a process called rechaka, or exhalation. Right, so there's a couple of quotes here from Yoga Yajnavalkya and Bhagavad Gita 4:29, which talk about pranayama. So if the entire process is gone through 3 times or thrice, it constitutes one pranayama. 3 times means breathing in through the left, holding, breathing out through the right, right? Then that is considered to be one pranayama. It deserves to be noted that the mantras incorporated in this pranayama are contained in the 27th and 28th anuvakas of the Narayana Vali of the Taittiriya Upanishad. And that Lord Narayana is the Supreme One, Paramapurusha, propitiated by these mantras. The word Brahma occurring in section 3, the Gayatri Shiras, also refers to the Supreme Lord and not to the four-faced Chaturmukha Brahma, who is the creator. As such, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Narayana Param Brahma, etc., Brihat Tvat Brahmanatvat Tad Brahmetya Vidiyate. The Supreme is called Brahman because he is big and makes others also big. So the benefits of pranayama. The sage, Yajnavalkya, so we have to do this 3 times. So we breathe in through the left, hold, breathe out through the right, breathe in through the right, hold, breathe out through the left, breathe in through the left again and hold and breathe out through the right 3 times. So, or some people, they could maybe just do it 1 time using those three, breathing in, holding and breathing out. So, Sage Yajnavalkya has declared, he who controls the breath and contemplates the 7 vyaritis He is deemed to have propitiated all the 7 worlds. Besides, he acquires the strength and ability to move around all over these worlds. The Gayatri Shiras is the very embodiment. That's the third part of the mantra, third line of the mantra for pranayam. Is the very embodiment. It is in a concentrated form of the entire Veda, uttering it but once, the upasaka or participant or practicant, okay, gets released from the bondage of samsara, the cycle of birth and death. So says Bodhayana averse, pranayama or breath control, if put through in the manner enjoined, absolves the participant of sins committed by him through the media of the various organs of the body, including the mind and intellect. Yama Shmriti, which is the Shmriti Shastra, the Dharma Shastra, gives us different rules, makes it absolutely clear that he who practices pranayama with its 3 constituents, the Vyahritis, the Gayatri, and the Gayatri Shiras, which are taken all together for the Dirgha Gayatri or the long Gayatri, gets absolved from even the most heinous sins like Brahmahatya, the killing of a Brahmin. The participant enjoys freedom from fear of any kind. There are several other texts extolling the merits of pranayama within the none too elaborate compass of the present treatise. It would suffice to wind up this aspect by quoting Manu, the famous lawgiver. He points out admirably that the practice of pranayama is itself a tapas or austerity of a high order, purifying the participant and purging them of all sins, like unto gold and silver shedding the dross when heated on a fire and shining with their pristine luster. Lastly, from the common sense point of view, scientific no doubt, the longevity of the participant gets extended by the extent by which he holds the breath in the process. As already, this is because in the Vedic understanding, one has a certain number of breaths in lifetime. And so if you hold your breath, if you practice holding your breath or doing pranayama, then if you do it many, many times, you're actually extending your life. So as already explains, one's longevity is reckoned in terms of the allotted number of breaths. Allotment made at the time of birth, believed to have been inscribed right on the scalp. And somebody may be able to see it by looking at your hand, palm of your hand or your scalp. And not in terms of days, which again may vary from calendar to calendar or almanac to almanac. That is why it is stated that one who has breathed his last breath when he dies. So now we have, coming to the next section, section 3, sankalpa or making a vow. At this stage, the participant should do sankalpa or resolve as follows. For the Vaishnavite Tengalai sect, which is the southern school or the Sri Rangam school of Sri Vaishnavism, the statement is Sri Bhagavadagyaya Bhagavad Kainkarye Prataha Sandhyamupashishye. I perform these morning rituals decreed by Bhagavan, by the Supreme Lord Srimanarayana, in a spirit of service and dedication to him. The words Prataha Sandhyam above should be substituted by Madhyanikam and Sayam Sandhyam, respectively, at the midday and evening sessions. Now, for the Vaishnavite Vadagalai sect, right, the northern school of Sri Vaishnavism, or the Kanchi school, right, Kanchipuram school, substitute Sriman Narayana Prityatam for Bhagavad Kainkarye above. The amended text would mean, I perform these morning rituals decreed by Bhagavan in order to earn the pleasure of Sriman Narayana. Smartas, who are not Vaishnavas, right, their sankalpa goes like this. Substitute Sri Bhagavadagyaya, Sri Bhagavad Kainkarye for Mamupata Samasta Guritaksheya Dwara, Sri Parameshwara Prityatam, or mostly they say Sri Parameshwara Prityatam. This means I invoke the pleasure of Parameshwara, or Sri Parameshwara, Supreme Lord, through the rituals to wipe off all my sins. Step 4 is the Prokshita mantra. First, we have to do the Rishi Nyas. So we have to touch the head, in front of the nose and in front of the heart, and then fold the palms in when we say the Viniyogaha, or the meaning of the mantra, or the use of the mantra, the purpose of the mantra. So, apo histeti mantra sasindhu dvipa rishihi devi gayatri chandaha apo devata prokshane viniyogaha, right? The rishi for the mantra is to be recited now, is Sindhu Dvipa. Chandas, or the meter, poetic meter, is Gayatri. The devata or deity is apaha, or water, actually denoting the Supreme Lord who pervades water, as spelt out in Sri Pancharatra and other Sattvic Shastras. And then, and now the Prokshana mantra, first muttering or saying, Sri Kesavaya Namaha. The participant should draw a line in the center of the forehead, bottom upwards, with the right forefinger, and spell out the following mantras while sprinkling water on the head at the same time. Now, of course, if we're wearing Urdhva Pundra or Tilak at this time, if we actually touch the head with the water, we will be wiping off the Urdhva Pundra or Tilak. So what one has to do is just touch the water, and you can just touch the water to the forehead and say, Sri Keshavaya Namaha. Some people don't do this. Smartas tend to do it. Sri Vaishnavas don't tend to do it. So the next mantras are to be used for sprinkling on the head. Apo histamayo stana uttana ujedidatana maheraya chakshase yova shivatamorasa tasya bhajyate hanaha usatiri vamataraha tasma arangamama vahai shikshaya jimbata apo janeta chanaha. Right, so this is actually with all up to usatiri vamataraha, we sprinkle on the head. Tasma arangamama vaha, sprinkle on the feet or the knees. And then again, Yashakshaya Jimbata, we sprinkle on the feet. And then Pujanaya Tachanaha, back on the head again. So up until the second last mantra, right? We sprinkle on the head, and then the second last mantra is on the feet. And then again, the last mantra on the head. May ye waters, who are in a position to confer on everyone felicity of every kind, He apaha, yuyam mayo bhuvaha histaha, offer us tadatana to the Supreme Lord, who is steadfast, urje, exalted, mahe, charming, ranaya, and like unto the eyes of one and all, chakshase. May you make us acquire bhajyata in this world, iha, that tasya, highly auspicious essence of yours, shivatama rasaha, bhakti, like the loving mother does, ushatihi mataraha iva. We intensely meditate on you, vaha aram gam mama, to enable us to attain that Bhagavan Tasmai, whose pleasure you have earned by being his abode. Yes, yakshayaya jinvata. Yea, waters, O apaha, or O waters, make us alive in the real sense. Naha janayata. Okay, so the fifth step is prataha tirtha prasana mantra. The text of this mantra, while uttering which the participant has to hold the water in his right palm. So you put some water in your right palm and then swallow it after the incantation, is different for the midday and evening sessions. The relevant texts are included in the respective sections. This particular mantra is for the morning session only. So here's the mantra for the morning session. Suryascha manyascha manyapateyascha manyapatebhyaha papebhyo rakshantam yadratriya papamakarisham manasa vacha hastabhyam padbyam udarena shishna rakristadavalam patu yatkincha duritam mayi idamaham mamamiti yonau surye johomi swaha, and then sip the water. May the sun, Indra, and other devas subordinate to him, Suryascha manyascha manyupatayascha, deliver me, ma rakshantam, from whatever sins, papebhyaha, I committed overnight, yadratriya papamakarisham, through anger, manyupatebhyaha, by mind, words, hands, feet, tummy, and genitals, genital organs, manasavacha hastabhyam padbyam udarena shishna. Let the other sins committed by me earlier on, that kinchiduritam mahi, be wiped out, avalumpatu, by the deity controlling the night, ratrihi. I, aham, offer an oblation, Jehomi, this my soul, idam mam, unto the Supreme Lord, who is the sole instrument of one's emancipation, moksha, resplendent, Jyotishi, and the great ordainer of all events, Surya. Okay? So then it's not mentioned here. But we actually have to do, after this, we have to do Achaman again, as we did in the beginning, step 1. Okay? And then the next thing is the Puna Prokshana mantra. After the prasana, right? We have to do Prokshana. We have to again do Prokshana. So we have to say, Dhari Krabno Akarsham Jishnora Swasyavajinaha Surabino Mukakarate Pranayugam Sitaristate. And then again, we repeat the mantra that we said in the beginning, the first Prokshana, the first sprinkling. Apo histamayo bhava stana ujetaratara maheranaya chachase yovashivatamorasaha tasya bhajyate hanaha uzatiri makalaha tasmadarangamamabaha yashakshaya jimata apo janayatachanaha. So with the Dari Kravno mantra, we sprinkle on the head, and then the same sprinkling that we did with in the beginning before the prasana, we have to do by sprinkling with all the mantras except for the second last one, which is sprinkled on the feet. So, unto Lord Krishna, who gave himself over to the shepherdesses, well, I would prefer, instead of calling them shepherdesses, I would call them milkmaids. In Vraja, meaning the gopis. So, unto Lord Krishna, who gave himself over to the gopis in Vraja, in exchange for curd, Dadi Kravnaha, the vanquisher of the horse-shaped fiend, Keshi, possessed the terrific speed, Jishnora Svasya Vajinaha. I offer my soul, Akarsham. Let that Bhagavan impart fragrance to our faces. Surabhi na mukakarat. Let him make our lifespan grow. Naha ayugumsi pratarishat. And the rest is the same as in 4 above. Okay, so the next system is Agya Pradhanam. Agya Pradhanam is as follows. Agya means offering of water with both hands, or sometimes with one hand, the right hand. So the Agya Pradhanam is performed as follows. This Agya is very important, Surya Agya, right? The participant takes water in the hollow of the palms, joined together. You can take a Panchapatra in one hand like this on the side, and you can tip it and offer it into the palm like that, and offer the water out the front of the hands like that. The participant takes water in the hollow of the palms joined together, taking care to see that the thumbs, right and left, are kept apart without touching the respective forefingers. So the thumbs are not kept they're kept apart like this, right? Then he throws the water skyward. So he goes up on his tiptoes and he pours the water out at the height of the head or the eyes, and in the direction of the sun, uttering the Gayatri mantra, Om Bhoho, Om Bhava, Om Bhoho, Bhuva, Om Bhurbhava Suvaha, Om Dattabrare Inyam Bargore Vasidimihi, Dyoyona Pagoria Ate. The meaning thereof has already been given in 2 above under pranayam. The Argya Pradhanam has to be done thrice in the morning, twice in midday, and thrice in the evening session. One more Argyam has, however, to be delivered whenever the time limit prescribed for the performance of the respective session is exceeded, due to, it is presumed, to circumstances beyond one's control, after performing pranayamaha and the following sankalpa. So after doing 3 or 2 at noon, argyas, right? Then one has to do pranayamaha again. Then after that, he has to do a sankalpa, a small sankalpa, right? For prayaschitta, for atonement of not being at the right time, doing the Gayatri at the right time. The text of the sankalpa, or the resolve or vow at that time, is Kala Tita Dosha Prayaschitartam Eka Argya Pradhanam Karishye. Right? There's a simpler way to say it, but that's the way he puts it here. After the delivery of the extra Argya, water should be taken in the right palm and thrown around the head in a clockwise direction, looking from above the head, simultaneously circumambulating oneself, muttering the mantra Om Bhurbhava Suvaha mantra around. Then saluting with the joined palms, the mantra Asavadityo Brahma should be uttered, signifying that the sun is but a manifestation of Parabrahman, the Supreme Brahman, Sriman Narayana. Note, some make a separate sankalpa even for the initial Argya Pradhanam, as distinguished from the extra one, preceded by pranayamaha. the text of that sankalpa in that case would be Sri Bhagavadragyaya Bhagavad right? Or as appropriate with the other alternatives for other sects, Prataha Sandhya Argya Pradhanam Karishye. But mostly this is not done based on the concept that the Sandhya Vandanam itself is the Argya Pradhanam, and the initial sankalpa, as in section 3 above, would therefore suffice. So most people don't do that, make a separate sankalpa for the initial offering of Argya, but only for the price, Chitta Argya. Jala Tarpanam, step number 8. Now, Achamana is done again, as in step 1 above, and then the following 12 tarpanans, right, again offering water, right, through the hands, should be performed to propitiate Lord Vishnu, denoted by the names Keshava, Narayana, etc., which we know from the Angavandanam after we do the sipping of the water in Achamana. Those Dwarasa namas, 12 names of Vishnu, same as Tilak names. So, if performed in a river or tank, these tarpanas should be performed by taking water in the hollow of the joint palms and pouring it back into the river or pond. Otherwise, it should be done with the right palm by pouring water into it from a vessel or throwing it on the ground or into a plate if you're sitting inside. So here are the mantras, and we propitiate Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trikama, Vamana, Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, and Damodara with the following mantras. Om Keshavam Tapiyami, Narayanam Tapiyami, Madhavam Tapiyami, Govindam Tapiyami, Vishnu Tapiyami, Madhusudam Tapiyami, Trikam Tapiyami, Vamanam Tapiyami, Sridharam Tapiyami, Rishikesham Tapiyami, Padmanabham Tapiyami, Damodaram Tapiyami. Achamanam should be done again, and 2 more tarpanas should be done thereafter. Krishna Paramastu, may this offering be to Krishna. Vasudeva Paramastu, may this offering be made to Vasudeva. The Smartas, however, perform 9 more tarpanas propitiating the 9 planets. Suryam Tarpayami. So they Somam Tarpayami, Angarakam Tarpayami, Buddham Tarpayami, Brihaspatiam Tarpayami, like that. So before the 12 tarpanas propitiating Keshava, but Vaishnavas usually don't do that. They also do pranayamaha, followed by the following sankalpa before commencing the tarpanas. Mamo pata parameshwara prityatam prataha sandhya tarpanam karishye. The rest of the Sandhya Vandana is done either on the bank of the river or pond, or in the courtyard, or in the other interior part of the house in a sitting posture facing east. Right, of course, facing east in the morning, west in the evening, because you have to face the sun, and east or north at noon, like that. This is the first part of Sandhya Vandanam. The next part, this is called the Jala Bhaga, or the part with the water. And the next part is called the Japa Bhaga, where we chant the Gayatri mantra. And we'll learn about that next time.
Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya.